See the people around the world coming to PLASZOW, even late evening, to see history, to feel history, even for young generation. May I ask how old are you? How old are you?
Huh?
How many years? How old are you? 15 years? 15?
Yeah.
50. Oh, they're just the 15 years old Mexican tourists. They want to see the place that is the horrible. You know, the horrible because the place of the butcher from PLASZOW, Amon Goeth. Hello, Catherine. Hello. That's just I add you as the moderator. And we see step by step the KL PLASZOW, the former Nazi Germany concentration camp. That street that I'm staying was called SS Straße, was paved with Jewish tombstones. A horrible matter, horrible. That's why there's such thing. And now we got also positive thing. You see the normal houses, the people after work going to home. That is just, you know, the matter of the new things here, because you could watch my films connecting with that place on the former films, but here is the very special thing, because I want to share with you the new project of museum, underground museum. We walking over Jewish cemeteries and always something new. That's why stay with me about the 45 minutes. If you got any questions, maybe longer, but just general information about that place. On the cover photography, you see, hello Wendy, big thanks for joining. Then you've got the cruel, you know, the Jew sniper, Amon Goeth, staying with rifle. He was Austrian criminal, because he killed 500 Jews. There are different versions of the prisoners, because the Nusha Horowitz, for instance, the Holocaust survivor, he said she heard sound of shooting from balcony in that red villa. You see the logo with the date 1934. Now is the private owner, not museum, any project for the tourists. Only from outside you could little do the snooping. You know, I like the snooping tours on the Hego. There you see there's someone is inside, and the lamp inside is on. That's just the in Viennese style, such form. Yes, but that is just that's all. On our tour, I don't want to focusing only about the psychic commandant that just for pleasure they killed innocent people, baby Jews in PLASZOW, but also on the other places, and like a refurbishing place for the museum. There would be full reconstructing, and now is the government project of Minister of Culture that are just transforming PLASZOW in a museum, KL PLASZOW. That's why let's go the former SS Straße, SS Street, paved with the tombstones from the Jewish cemetery. Altogether in PLASZOW, in the Kraków, there were 4 cemeteries. You see there is a view in the background, Nowa Huta. You see the huge chimneys and the railway station PLASZOW over there, and the buildings, the block of flats around, they were on the place on the former Ukrainian auxiliary service Blackies. They were just responsible for the support SS during the service, and other buildings here on the left, on the place there were also some buildings from the SS crew. Altogether there were maximal amount of the people. There were 20,000 prisoners. Of course, there was also the transit camp. There were transit of Hungarian, Slovakian prisoners, mainly Jewish, and only 2 buildings they were left from the whole camp. the Amon-Goethe villa, Red Villa. He was sentenced to death by hanging in Krakow in the Montelupi prison in 1946. There was the famous process against him. Interesting, as the SS man, he didn't have tattoo on the armpit, and he was he was sent to sanatory. Just at first arrested by the German court because of corruption, not because of killing people, but because of corruption. And then escaped to Bad Tölz, the SS spa in Bavaria, and from there that was just the capture by Americans and the sent to, or even the red tree behind me. Look at this horrible SS Straße. In one moment we're getting to the crossroads. In front was the Hauptstraße, the main street, and on the left the Bergstraße, the going to up, and we climbing a little up too. You see the beautiful sky, temperature about plus 20 degrees Celsius, though we say like a Mexico, say my Mexican friend. And you see, respect the place of the former Nazi concentration camp. Now is the huge project of the transforming that grey house. That was the former SS prison. Before war, the Jewish community, the society Hevra Kadisha, go on site, and in the ground, the cellars, they were adopted the prison. We looking inside because some windows are open, and we look into cells inside. That's why stay in touch with me. Okay, just you're living. Oh, just okay. Just a Mexican friend is living. All the best. He's also following the YouTube channel tomguidekrakow. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Thank you. See you again in other places. As you see, the spontaneous meeting people around the world here is the very typical and most important from that place. That is not commercial spot. Just the people from heart just visiting that place, walking, contemplating, and there's not matter of money. That is the very, very important. Very important that such places in Krakow and such museum, I think, they would be created as for the contemplation, not counting the places like a tourist trap, of course, Auschwitz, other places, salt mine Wieliczka. Here, just there for contemplation. And behind me, the street. That was also reinforced by the prisoners, and we are just at the edge of the former cemetery, and here the grey house, as I said, and we try to look inside. Always I show you the bird's eye view on the camp, territory of over 80 hectares, and very transparent is the Appellplatz roll call ground. We're going to the roll call ground, and 200 barracks. Now the new statistics show over 20,000 prisoners were, and 8,000 prisoners was just or victims were buried in the 3 places. We see the mass graves of the execution sites, but it's always question the houses here on the right. The people got such block of flats on the territory of former camp. No, always everyday such a view. Now it is the Jerusalem Street. There was always before war called, and today Jerozolimska, and here Abraham Street. And just at the wall of the former cemetery was the first execution of the Polish people. Just at the beginning of war, the first execution, there were victims, there were Poles. Always I depicting you on the left, the old quarry is the completely with full of grass, but that according it's very hard that Amon-Goethe could shot anyone in that quarry, because that was the little distance, and diagonal even was the very hard. That's why such matters with shooting, we living to the memory people from the Schindler's List. It's always the such most recognized people always recognize that such moment. And have a look. I depict you the beautiful billboards. They are just in the nice shape. No graffiti, no any destroying. But one project was a little destroyed. We've got some whodunits. They destroyed something. One moment. So you see the photo of that camp during the war. That's why you see was a lot of barracks, and exactly Wachkaserne on the right. there now today behind the grey house there are a block of flats. And as I promised, promise is promise, I said that we're looking into cells. Okay, the grey house. That was here in my old live stream. You could see even that I filmed the date at the entrance, but I think there's now they prepare for the museum. Now the such date, the such piece of stone is put to the new museum, and then we could looping inside. Just but it's hard to see something because it's the darkness. But as you see, you could feel is the temperature. I think plus 5 degrees Celsius. Inside there were such cells and scratched inscriptions. They were just very good preserved. Now even inside there was the prison for prisoners of war after Second World War. Russians kept here the members of Polish Home Army or other such reason. That's why there's such inscriptions. And have a look. We are in the so-called the new Jewish cemetery. Then only one plate was in the good shape, preserved, and just restored by the Sarah Schenirer. And you see, she was the created founder of the Beit Yaakov schools for Jewish girls, and born in Krakow 1883 and died in 1935, just behind the Jews. Instead of flowers, putting stones staying forever. And on the other side, there should be with the Hebrew alphabet written inscriptions. I think you could hear me well. If something wrong, please tell me, because I've got the positioning microphone as you see on that side. And in one moment we see the ruins of the pre-funeral house. That was, I think, the most beautiful building that I've ever seen before war in Kraków. The architect was the Jewish architect Adolf Siódmak. He did also excellent projects of the houses in the west district of Kraków. And you know, over 15 years ago, if I walked here, was the full bush. The such ruins were among the bush was nothing. Now that territory is cleaned and the ruins are very visible. I think you've got also good connection. Now I try to always check if there is the everywhere 5G. Look at this, and I walking, and what's this? Here's the Maceva, the one of the cemetery plate. That was just among the grass. Here in PLASZOW you got still such discoveries, because we walking over the old, the new cemetery. That was the place for funerals till almost the Second World War. Then transformed to the camp, at first the forced labor camp in 1942, and then for the concentration camp, Nazi Germany concentration camp, KL PLASZOW. And look at this, on the territory, beautiful sunset, such shape. And that was the rail track, and from here they came the trains to the Auschwitz or Bełżec, or to the east direction Ukraine. From here, that direction is only 240 kilometers to Ukrainian frontier. We are so close. And that tour and that place is also very important because now we've got the war in the Ukraine, and they always, if now we as the guides, if we're talking about the Second World War, immediately we make any bridges to the human fate, for the, you know, humiliating of people, genocide. There's such things still we say repeating, just simple to say. Look at this, that's just grey house. And I think it's very well that it's just such accepting of the new museum project on that place, with the underground museum and the parking, and artifacts were gathered from the cemetery too. And look at this. Just in one moment I show you how look the building, former pre-funeral house from that place. Thank you. Say hello Stephanie. That's just nice to meet you. I add you as the moderator. Okay, and look at this. We are just at the beginning of the tour. And altogether there was only one place of the camp located on the former two Jewish cemeteries. And look at this here, there's just such view again, and then is very visible the place of the roll call ground, and that building looked so. Look at this. That is very nice. And why such building was destroyed? Commandant Amon Goeth wanted to make the new space for the raid track direction Auschwitz. That's why here there was the new raid track, and even the part of the building was left. Look at this. Here is the just photography in 1944, and the one part of the pre-funeral house is still in shape, and there's the little shame because such building was completely demolished after war. That is the matter that place was completely neglected. No one had the interest to do something with this place. Even if the dogs running here, sometimes they found any human bone or so. That's just a look at this. Around here, the former cemetery. New project is the cutting some bush. Hard to say about that trees as the trees. They are just the bush, the very young trees, or poplar, so-called, and such little magic alley. We're getting to the roll call ground. It was the similar system like in Auschwitz, you know, at the very early morning, wake up, standing hours on the roll call, and still selections. There was work fit and work unfit. The ratios of food no more than 800 calories a day. That was such average. For Germans were over 3,000 calories a day. Hello Lynn, thank you for this, just for joining. Okay, Lynn is the pin. And in one moment I show you much better the overview of it. This is the pretty uphill. Here the real sightseeing of PLASZOW, they could take even 3 or even 5 hours, because it's also Schindler's this scenery in Liban. But on that tour I have to don't go there because it's the little far away, and I have to check the signal there. And have a look. Here is the roll call ground, and on the roll call ground we've got the such beautiful plaza. And here, have a look. Such view on the PLASZOW. There was the barracks for Polish prisoners, for Jewish, for women, for men, and the roll call ground. And in the sunset, we try to get maximal overview of the place. It seems the only grass, but it's not. That in one moment, out of grass, they're jumping the former Jewish tombstones. They were used as the foundation for the foundation for the barracks. Here they were put barracks. You know, Germans always the practical thinking. Something have to be done. Look at this, the sky, and exactly like an opening sky there, that is the first mass grave. Very horrible action. Imagine after executions in ghetto or so, they took the bodies there and put in the mass grave. Then Amon Goeth get the full trousers, because the coming the Red Army, they're afraid of the these guys, the unveiling of his crime, and he ordered to use the special Sonderkommando to dig out the bodies. Even they use any machine, and they were burnt in the Chipowy Dołek. Also, we're going there. There's the Sea Hill. Such two names given by the prisoners, Chujowa Górka and Chipowy Dołek. That's like a special names of that place. We're going there, and then have a look here, and the foundation of the former. here is the new discovery. In the Austrian army, there were Jewish soldiers, about 20 or 30, and now if you could get such information, in the one sector is the group of Jewish soldiers just from the First World War in the Austrian-Hungarian army. There's very interesting new discovery in that sector. And as I said, that place is the sector from the first mass grave, and only one plate with the inscription is the still to recognize name and information about the Jacob Abrahamer. Then he died in 1932. And you see again the stones at the top, but it's the very picturesque. Only one left in the something. You could take the picture, because I know the haygoers like always pictures from the some corners of the most interesting places. Yes, that's just absolutely. But you know why for me is the like a call of duty to walk here. You know, my first live streams on the Facebook, I started exactly here. Oh, now I think you could hear me better if I put the microphone closer. The brother of my grandfather, Aleksander Witowiecki, was captured by Gestapo. He was member of Polish MI6, got the PhD for law, and then he was in prison Montelupi, arrested by Gestapo, and over PLASZOW was relocated to Auschwitz, and at the age 31, there was the place that they would have been here, as just this for me still like a family history, very painful. On my Haygo channel, I showed you the photography or so, but on my some films, I think I shared also some information. And have a look. Here is the overview, and diagonal we see our starting point, the Amon-Get villa, and the quarry, and the hill was with the special swimming pool was going to be built for Amon-Get. He prepared such both official anti-fire, or we say fire pond, but the water was too much sulfur, or so there was infeasible to continue the work, and they abandoned such building as such so-called special water reservoir. And there was the place also for his dogs. Amon-Get got the two dogs. They were just special schooled Dobermans, just to catching the prisoners. And that was absolutely typical for assessment. They appreciated much more the life of dogs, and the better food was there for dogs instead of prisoners. But imagine the winter here, temperatures minus 20 degrees Celsius or lower. Or you see still the people strolling with dogs. That's just there's still question if that place the a dog that could piss here, for instance. That is the still question. That's why I think that territory of the sacred place of the old Jewish cemetery and lower part new Jewish cemetery, they would be special protected as the museum KL PLASZOW. That's why it's the future. At the moment, of course, is just the place for the walking, and the project, I think, till 2025 or the 27, slowly that place is the more and more prepared as the real commemorating place. Yes, and then you see that the territory of PLASZOW is the like an open book. That's just also very interesting shape. And over there is H hill, so called Chujowa Górka. That's why at first we walking that hill, and then to the monument commemorating all victims of PLASZOW. On the right, on the boy walk, that was the Gulag, the Jewish Ordnungsdienst, or just the service. They've got, of course, better food and the big barrack on the right. Some fragments of the foundation of the barrack are visible, but very, very little between among the grass is the not so strong point of view. I think it's better if we walking straight to direction the monument. Yes, jest znany i nieznany, I don't. Okay, but I said that's just because of the translator of the YouTube. It's the straight subtitles, and that's the first reason. And I think the biggest point of interest, of course, is in English, and I try to keep the channel for English speaking. But of course, I put I put of course always the subtitles in Polish. That's why, don't worry. Yes, of course. Look at this. I don't need to speak non-stop. Look at this. You could even heard the birds. Is there like a little bird watching tour for a short time? Because the wild nature in that part of Krakow. Yes. Oh. That's why you see that is the absolute silence. If I don't need to talk non-stop. But that part we getting to the street that was used by for the transport of the stones straight from the quarry, and the exhausting wars especially for women. The bastard Amon Goeth, they use women as for the human trains. They had to carry up the full overloaded cars. In each car was several tons of stones, and they had to build the new roads. At the end of tour, we see the two roads built by the prisoners, Kamińskiego and Słoszowicka, that direction. As just such the direction, there are two streets on that part. Yes, and then we going up to the H hill. You see, there's still like a full nature tour. I know on the live stream you have to be patient because not everything is getting quick like on the vlog, but it's always nice that you've got some unexpected meetings, like at the beginning of tour I met the visitor from Mexican young boy, just wanted to visit the place. Oh, I think I'm not lost, because sometimes you could, from that perspective you see that old cemetery with the Jewish soldiers that we were before, and the roll call ground. From the roll call ground, that is also seen that Amon Goeth, one day they selected prisoners just for he didn't have the good day, and they killed 25 prisoners at once, just walking among them and shot them. That's why, therefore, his war crimes, he was accused of killing 500 Jews prisoners in PLASZOW. That was also, of course, the war crimes before. He was also in service in the liquidation of the two ghettos in Szebnie and Tarnów. And have a look, there's the little climbing up. Everywhere is the limestone. Everything, you've got the lime. You see, that is just such lime was the prisoners had to pick such cutting such them. And everywhere dogs. You see, there's such KL PLASZOW seems like a paradise for the dog owners, because everywhere we got the free running dogs, and of course the dogs living. Everything is just, I hope the owners the cleaning the after dogs that what they left. Yes, but 40 hectares, we say the half of the territory of PLASZOW should be protected. 80 hectares was the former territory of PLASZOW, and half 40 hectares I think should be protected now for the future museum. Look at this. We said still I'm out of breath a little bit because it was the steep hill, and the hill was called Chujowa Górka. Is the not from the key, but just from the name of the SS man, right hand of Amon Goeth, Chujar. That was his surname, and there's the famous scene on the Schindler's List that the Amon Goeth took him responsible to shot Diana Reiter, Italian architect from Milano, and that was the name for the horrible man that did the executions here on the men of the Polish prisoners. Of course, Polish prisoners had a very bad existence here, we have to point. That's why it's the commemorating, you see like a Catholic cross with thorn of Christ, but in the shape of the barbed wire that is giving the symbol of the Holocaust. Barbed wire, like in Auschwitz, yes. There's very special kind of commemorating. I haven't seen anywhere there's a such similar design. And of course candles, the putting by the Catholics commemorating Polish victims of PLASZOW. And then we walking to the most important monument of PLASZOW. PLASZOW, the huge monument of the architect Witold Cęckiewicz, and the hill is called Sea Hill. And there's that place, the H Hill, is the second place of mass executions. The first was in the old Jewish cemetery. Yes, thank you, Wendy, for expression. And look at this. Then we walking direction Chimney, and the third mass execution site. In the meantime, I tell you what was here around. It's only bush, nothing. In future museum would be much better appeared everything. But I tell you the testimony of Niusia Horowitz. She told that we see here the small brush workshops. There were different workshops here for Madrich. Madrich was the owner, like a Schindler tycoon, responsible for production of uniforms from the company. Also Hugo Boss collaborating, Hugo Boss, and making uniforms for Wehrmacht and SS. And the next to uniforms here there were brush workshops, and through the slits she saw the such scene in the barracks. Jewish prisoners had to peel potatoes, and they came Amon Goeth with his lover, and she observing how was the pace with the peeling potatoes. He took the watch and ordered to his mistress to peel potato as quick as feasible. She's got, of course, the very sharp knife. She did that very quickly, and then she calculated average pace to make the, of course, for prisoners to prepare such potatoes in the such pace, peeling potatoes. No sound. Oh, that's just, oh la la, that's just, okay. Just we checking. Oh, just one moment. Oh, just sometimes could be the short connection broken because we were in the place that was maybe. Sound is good. Oh, thank you, Satan. That's just sometimes, but there's some. Perfect. Okay, thank you, Satan, for information. Okay, just I pinned the information of the Satya, and have a look. Here is the view of the such corner that now is the bush, but you see that place in the photography of just in the time of the camp. But we getting to the most important corner, the third mass execution site, and the most important different monuments that visit. The chimney is from the former Bonarka. Was the bricklayer factory, then part of the soda factory behind. Now is the just the shopping mall and offices between them from Lufthansa. Okay, hello, and then we getting to the first. Yes, oh, thank you. Yes, that's the, today we got a windy day, a little bit, and no rain, of course, but it's temperature about plus 20 degrees Celsius was even. And the first. Monument is always here, finished the march commemorating liquidation of Krakow ghetto, 13 to 14 March 1943. And that we say that we could speak a lot, but we, instead of just thank you, Przadzki. And there's just they've got such one word here where these passed away Jews, and the most horrible bastard matter that was the Hitlerite matters that when Hitler did the followers they did everything, and we get the honor from the all survivors on that place. And have a look. This interesting is there just the next corner. See the always new generation sitting with iPhones. And have a look. Hello, Leah, bravo, thank you. And the second is very interesting because it's like a separate plate commemorating transport of Hungarian Jewish prisoners, mainly women, to Auschwitz. And Auschwitz was the full, and they were staying here in PLASZOW just on the way to Auschwitz. One monument is always like abandoned. Tourists always, they don't have time to look in, but we look at the special place commemorating Polish policemen, where policemen in Poland was in the time of occupation. There was the navy blue police, so-called, and they were members of Polish Home Army. That's why they were just also they were killed in the executions. And there's the youngest monument on that area, put in the just. That's exactly 11 years ago, and there are the names of the 40 Polish policemen just killed in that place in the KL PLASZOW. And in one moment we see better the like a main execution site that was cremation also of bodies, because after the Amon Goeth got the fear that his crimes would be unveiled, he ordered to take even the old body from the graves, and they were burned day and night just in the sea hill, so-called sea hole, so-called Chipowy dołek. There's one moment we see better. Oh, there's just, that's why that place that no one should enter here. Sometimes I saw the running dogs. And in 60s, the most important monument, like number one after Second World War, Krakow architect Witold Cęckiewicz, they commemorated all victims of PLASZOW, Jewish Polish victims, and the 5 figures standing here from the very busy road. That road was built by the prisoners of PLASZOW, Kamińskiego alley. Now is the shopping mall, petrol stations also, but that road was the built Kamińskiego, just whole project in the time of the Second World War. And just the old people going to work, 1,000 Krakowians going to work. Every day they see the monument that I'm staying at the feet. One moment, look at this, you see much better. There's always question why they've got the such wreaths in the hearts. The that is the symbol of the mass execution, because they had to stay to 5, and with one SS man with the rifle make the such execution. That's why like a torn hearts, and the one of them, they keeping the two of them, they keeping the feast is the just the closed. That is the like a symbol, ready to fight, ready to for the battle. That is the very important meaning. But it's also the depicting the mass execution site. They were put the 5, then they putting the lime or soil, and then the next after, and that was just the burning them in that place, because they were put in the such 5 order on the cremation stakes, and just they burned day and night. Look at this. Then we've got the new project. In the future, if you watch that film, that would be historical film, because here you see the intersection of the 2 roads. In front of me is the Swobodzka Street and Kamińskiego, and in the such fork is the project of the underground entrance to the museum with the parking. Some bush should be cut. I don't say the trees, because it's just like a bush, little bit cleaning the territory. And from that side there would be second reception entrance. So like the PLASZOW, in the future there would be the 2 entrances, one from the Kamińskiego street and one from the Jerusalem street from the Amongd Villa and Grey House. But only 2 houses were left in the whole territory of PLASZOW. Is the mainly green area, green, but with the future attraction, I think would be much more alive. Like we could to recall history and show that we do remember. Just simple, we do remember. Thank you for the such watching. I don't want to make the extremely long live streams. As you see, the weather, we're lucky with weather, that we managed the tour of the whole camp in the less than I think 42 minutes. That's why I think we staying with the such timing, not too long. Big thanks for watching. Thank you for recommendations, supporting my channel, recommending channel among you. You could watch my older films. There's a lot of information about the tours of Tom and of Kraków. That's why with words we say never again. We finish. We should say I orientating now to the west. Behind me is the direction Ukraine. That's why this, there's the still question what's going on. There just only 150 miles to the east, 1 hour plus. That's why all the best to you, our neighbors, all neighbors of Poland. And see you on the next tours with Tom Guide Krakow. Big thanks, and see you in the next tours. Big thanks that you drop by for the while with Tom. Thank you. Bye bye.